Hello internets, this is Pojo, and I'm going to be demonstrating my first attempt at the Ghost First build, as emphasized by Liquipedia. So, here we go. This was a really epic game, and I'm very excited to cast it. As you can probably tell, I have my new mic up, so it should sound pretty decent. I should set my sound at least, but yeah, one more second. Make sure that it's nice and quiet so that nobody has any problems. I should be quite a bit louder now. I have a new microphone, and I believe it's quite a bit clearer, so I hope you guys enjoy. Yeah, so this is basically, I looked up a couple of builds online for Terran vs. Terran and Terran vs. Protoss, and one of the first ones that came up was the Ghost First build, which is something that I hadn't seen before on Liquipedia, and thought I would give it a try. I haven't been playing too many build-oriented games recently. I've been a bit more freestyle in it, which may explain why I haven't been keeping up with the game too much, but yeah, all the same. I'm still pretty high-ranked platinum player, about 1,200 points, so I hope you guys enjoy this. As you can see, it's getting off to a nice and slow start. I need to get some additional RAM in this computer, but all the same. So the build order is 10 supply. I believe it's late 11 refinery, then 12 racks. After you get a marine, you go for a Ghost Academy at, I think, 16, and then the Ghost Academy is following an orbital command, so while the orbital command is building, you're at 16 supply, and you have a Ghost Academy, you build a tech lab, and you build a second supply depot, I believe. Anyways, we should see the build. I actually executed it fairly well. They say late gas, and they do mean late gas, because I built my gas not quite at the end of 11, and it should be a late 11 gas, sorry. So, yeah, basically the idea is that you want to get your gas up a little later, so that way you don't have this dead time right here, where you can't build an SCV because you're putting down your barracks. But all the same, just a little dead time isn't going to hurt me too much, even this early in the game. So, that SCV is going to come into scout. I don't scout until 14, which is also part of the build. Essentially, once the build happens, that's when you start to really get to open things up for play. And that's really one of the main reasons why good players focus on builds, is because they put you in this nice, strong opening position, and then you can do just about whatever you want. And that's really, you know, something that you want to have, like a nice, solid mechanical start that allows you to play the game how you want to play the game. So it's not really about sort of following any sort of prescribed order, if that's what you tend to think about builds. That's bad. Don't do that. Just go ahead and take a look at them, see what strikes your fancy. There are quite a few interesting builds that are actually quite useful. So, Liquipedia is, of course, an excellent site for this. Team Liquid is just, in general, great for the StarCraft community. I highly recommend it. So, yeah, anyways. Okay, so here's my Marine coming out to sort of scout for that SCV. I did see him dash off to this side, so I know he's behind there somewhere. I'm going to try and run in and hopefully get him before he manages to kite away. A good spot to hide your SCV is right there in that particular spot, because oftentimes you won't even see it. It's pretty well hidden. So, yeah, but yeah, now my Marine, I thought I was doing a little bit better kiting here, but now he's just trying to kill that SCV off. As you can see, I've built my Ghost Academy in a nice hidden spot, so nobody can see it. The scouting SCV has no idea that it's there. My opponent is going for racks, then fax, so should be a standard 1-1-1 build over here. Looks like he's already got his orbital command up, doing his lovely little muling. Those mules, extremely useful. That's why you want to get orbital commands as soon as possible. Alright, I'm getting my second refinery up. This is also per the build. I think at about 21 is where I have to sort of cut off, and that's actually the point where I get out my first Ghost, and you're going to see what happens with it. So here we go. Yeah. Ghost Academy. Yep, and there's that starport. So it is, in fact, a nice, very fast 1-1-1 build. My opponent is probably teching Banshees, and still getting that lag. Really not pleasant. It has to do less with my video and more with the way that replays play in StarCraft, but hopefully it will be fixed when my new RAM arrives. Right now I'm using a USB stick with Ready Boost. So, alright, so here comes the Marine, here comes the Ghost, right behind it, 2 SCVs. These are a little bit late, they should be a little bit faster. They do move faster than the infantry units, but all the same they're quite a bit behind, so not coming out fast enough. Building Marauders, getting my second barracks up, putting up another supply depot, trying to keep my macro going as well as you can, and this is really the challenge of any sort of early harass-focused build. If you can keep an army going, then you actually are in very good position when things start to happen. No wall in at my opponent's base. This is really good for me because it's really supportive of the Ghost first. And my opponent has also built 5 Marines, which is extremely good for me, as you can see by the sudden pace that I'm making out of those Marines right there. Yep, and all of them go down. The SCV constructs a bunker. Sort of a clever plan here. I mean, basically at this point I can just snipe him off of the bunker and there's not really much you can do about it. My 2 SCVs out here sort of tanking. My opponent building a Hellion, very clever. He's also still getting his Banshee up, which is a good idea. Ghost First has some strengths against Banshee, which are mentioned in the Liquipedia, and you're probably going to see their uses, although I am going to lose this Ghost because I'm easily surrounded when this happens. All the same, I killed off quite a few SCVs, I did quite a bit of economic damage, I killed off all of his Marines, so I'm feeling pretty safe to do whatever I want right now, and what I'm probably going to do is expand, because I have about 800 minerals sort of linked up there. And I've still been building Marauders, still been producing, so this was a very safe build for me. And one of my SCVs gets away with 3 health, so he's just going to... somebody's going to set up that command center. And there comes that first Banshee. So, early Banshee harass, and that's actually one of the things that this build is particularly strong against. And I'm still unpracticed with Ghosts, you might say. I know their abilities well enough, but all the same, I need to... be sure of... I need to be a little bit more sure of myself. Okay, so here comes that Banshee. It does see that Ghost Academy, so it knows where it is, and that's going to probably be important later. My 4 or 5 Marauders here, yeah, I chose to go very heavy Marauder as opposed to getting a second Ghost. Banshee pops off that command center. I actually thought this was a Hellion, so I'm going to be looking for that Hellion here, and that's going to be to my detriment, because that Banshee is now sneaking around to the back of my mineral line, and I haven't built any Marines, and I have not started building my Ghost yet either. So, at this point, I'm in a very bad position. This is actually a losing position if I hadn't dealt so much economic damage ahead of time. So, like, this is not the position that you want to be in against any Terran who's fast expanding. I really should have gotten Marines up faster. I should have gotten a second Ghost, which is probably a part of the build, really, or at least it's sort of implied. But I did not see the starport, and I assumed that a bunch of Hellions were coming in, because I saw that factory, and I saw the Hellions coming out. More lag here. That's lovely. Well, anyways. So, yeah, now this Banshee is going to have free reign, and I don't have enough, and I really want my Ghost out, but I don't have enough refiner juice. So, building my Marines. I know that he's probably getting cloaking technology as fast as humanly possible. We're going to go ahead and look at the production tab there. Yeah, he's building Marines... no, I'm building Marines and a Ghost, he's building an SCV and a reactor, so no units of his own, but he is pounding away at those SCVs, and I'm losing quite a few of them. However, I am getting this expansion up nice and early, and I'm also going for an early Marauder attack. I'm going to take all of those Marauders and put them somewhere where they can be of use to me. SCVs running back in. Once again, they get caught by the Banshee. They're way out of position. This is really bad for me as well. I got those Marines. If the Banshee were smart, he would probably be trying to snipe those off while he's still cloaked. He does have 100 energy, so he's in perfectly fine shape there. My Ghost is sitting here waiting for his EMP. Marauders do a great job. Banshee scouting away so that he just kiting away so that he can do what he can. These Marauders rushing forward once again, doing as much damage as possible. That Banshee still all over the place. So we've got this nice 2-pronged action here. I'm focusing heavily on my Marauders right now because I don't see that Banshee. It seems to have run away. My 5 Marauders, of course, doing a great job against those Marines, and those SCVs trying to repair the command center, but I'm not going to try and snipe it down. They do have a... No, they don't have any bonus health, but all the same, I really want those SCVs, and I don't really care about the command center that much. Although if he loses the command center, that will be the game for him, so there is that for me. Alright, so the SCVs have to run back to repair again, and at this point I'm going to get some free shots off. The Banshee's here. It's come to destroy my Marauders, so at this point, yeah, not much I can do about it. I'm just going to take out as many SCVs as possible. And he has a little micro problem there, so that gets me quite a few of his SCVs. Now he's down to 6 or so, and I'm producing from both of my command centers, so I will hopefully be back up. This mule right here, lost in the micro battle. Wasted. Oh, war. Isn't it a shame? Okay, so we have, yeah, my 2 command centers. That Banshee once again heading across the map, decloaked this time. Second Banshee sitting right here. I think that's the one that was cloaked originally, so both Banshees would of course be very useful for my opponent here, but Quite an interesting game, as I am saying to him. Now he's going to start sniping my SCVs off again. My Marines and Ghost are once again out of place. This Ghost coming up, and now we're going to see the first point where I actually should have done it right. Perfect EMP, and the Banshee goes down. Banshees are actually light units, so they do take the full 20 damage from Ghosts, and that's really quite excellent. So, yeah. So we have more SCVs coming down. I'm not bothering with my orbital command, not trying to save up scanner sweeps for those Marines. I probably should be, but I really want to practice Ghosts at this point, and in order to do that I need to be fairly reliant on that EMP to fend off those Banshees, so big practice for this build. Putting up my engineering base so I can get some turrets up, that way I can defend one area and keep my Marines and Ghosts down in another area. My opponent has a nice solid army here. Marauder, Marine, and a Hellion and a Viking. And the Viking's a really good idea, of course. Allows him to keep off medevacs, so that should be fairly useful for him. And it also is good scouting, lots of mobility. You know, just one Viking can be quite helpful if you've got some time for it. Better than 7 Banshees. So, well, Banshees are quite good units, but I'm just joshing. So, here we go. Missile turrets. I have my 3 production facilities. They're not really ready to get online yet. I know I've damaged my opponent quite heavily, so this expansion is really going to be quite helpful for me. And now, I am probably going to miss with an EMP. Yep. Yeah, so that puts me in a terrible position. This command center at 25, this command center at 32, and once again losing a pile of SCVs. He's done a lot of economic damage to me. The only advantage that I have is the fact that I have this second command center, otherwise I'd be GGing right now. But as it is, I can produce more SCVs than he can until he gets his expansion up, so that's really useful for me. Got the mule sort of hiding away there. This Banshee's just about out of energy. However, I am probably going to land a scan on it anyways, because I do have 53. So, yep, there we go. Scan, and down. So, if I'd known how much energy it had, I probably still would have had to have scanned it, but all the same. Should be producing SCVs out of this command center. It's really important to get back into the game at this point. Yep, there we go. So keeping all of your units all of your production facilities constantly producing, and having enough production facilities to support your econ, all very important. I have these 4 production facilities, and that's, my opponent probably has overproduced, considering he's trying to expand, but once he gets all of his SCVs back to mining, yeah, he's built up quite a few as well. Let's take a look at the resources tab. Looks like, income tab. Looks like I'm earning 620, he's earning 620. We're pretty much dead even, so that harassment is kind of evened out. If I had had a second Ghost out much faster, then it would barely have even been a problem. The Ghosts can actually probably take the Banshee straight on if it EMPs it first, so, and combined with some Marines, you can keep it mostly at bay and avoid lots of SCVs. Oh, flies in front of my face, excellent stuff. Gotta love fall. Okay, so my opponent has a really nice, hefty infantry army, which is very good for him. And I am researching Stimpack and Combat Shield simultaneously, making up for that game that I played against the Zerg, where I attempted to research both and then just sort of failed. Unfortunately, that game was mostly drowned out by the combat, so, but I hope that this is quite an improvement over that. Okay, so we have the orbital commands. Basically, we're just really focused on mining here, and once again, it's very much about trying to get back into the game after the damage. The faster that you can macro, the less you get shaken up, and the more you produce, the better off you're going to be. So, like our opponent, so we've had quite a few excellent skirmishes here, and we're both just probably taking a little load off from the adrenaline. If I were my opponent, I would probably want to push at this point. Might be a safe idea. He does seem to have a pretty hefty amount of forces, and he does have those Banshees. Those Banshees are quite effective. There's his Banshee. I believe it was spiraling around my base here, and, well, once again, having some horrible lag. That really makes me unhappy. I apologize. My RAM will be coming tomorrow, most likely. And that will be delicious. Okay, so I have a pretty nice infantry army of my own. No medevacs. Those medevacs too add a lot to the durability. I don't have a starport up yet, which is the main reason why I don't have medevacs. I've been trying to use my gas to produce ghosts, to produce marauders, to basically produce, so as much as I can get. And of course ghosts are quite useful against all of these army units, but in addition to being able to snipe off marines and deal heavy damage to marauders with that snipe, they can EMP medevacs, which can really limit their